Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we'll compare var, let and const keyword in JavaScript. So these are the keywords that we use to create variables in our JavaScript program. You may already use one of these keyword and may be still confused which is the right choice from this keyword to create variables. So don't worry. In today's video, we'll talk about some differences between var, let and const. So next time you'll pick right keyword to create variables. So you can write clean and maintainable code. So we'll differentiate this variable on the basis of scope, mutability, and hosting. Okay, so the first keyword we have var, which is for variable and it is an legacy keyword. That means it is around since the JavaScript launch, and this will create an function scope variable. So what is a function scope variable? So in JavaScript program, we have different variable scope. The first one we have global scope. So when we declare variable inside the global scope, we can allow to access that variable anywhere in our program. And then we have function scope. So when we can declare variable inside the function, then we can only allow to access that variable inside the function. We'll take an simple example for this. So we'll create a function, let's call it as an get, and inside this function we'll create a variable with a var keyword. Okay, so it's an color, and now here we'll just log the value of color variable to the console, and below that we call our function. So we got read as an output. Now if I try to access that variable outside the function, we'll got reference error. Now this is called as a function scope. Now if I just move this declaration to outside the function, now this is called as a global scope. So we can allow to access that variable anywhere in our program. So here we got two output for a color variable, that is red. Okay, and last one we have block scope. So when we create a variable inside the block, we'll not allow to access that variable outside the block. So simple example for the block scope is an if statement. So we have if, and then we have opening and closing curly braces. So we'll make the condition as a true. So the code inside the if block will get execute, and we'll create a variable with a var. Okay, again we access this variable outside the scope. Okay, now we got here output as a red. Okay, because when we declare variable outside the function with a var keyword, this will treat as an global scope variable. So in JavaScript there are two additional keywords are introduced called as a let and const, that is introduced in a ES6 or ECMAScript version 6, and this will create an variable that are block scope. Okay, so now here instead of var we use let keyword. We got a reference error, color variable is not defined, and if I just redeclare the variable with the const keyword, we'll got same output or same error that color variable is not defined. And another difference between var, let and const keyword is that var allows to redeclare the same variable multiple times. This will not give an error, but this is not the case with the let and const. So we'll take a simple example for this. Again we'll declare the variable as color. Let's call it as let's assign a value as an red. Okay, and we have the same declaration of the variable color with another value. Now blue, if I just log this color variable, we got blue as an output. That means JavaScript will completely redefine this color variable, and we got the new value for this color variable. Or if I just try to declare the variable with a let keyword, so let car, and then we have Audi, and we have another car variable with another value. Okay, now we got an error that car has already been defined. We also got the same error when we use const keyword. Okay, and now another difference between var and let and const: when we create a variable with a var keyword, it will attach to the window object of a JavaScript global object. Okay, so if I create this variable, so let's call it as a var color red, and below that we'll create another variable for let. Let's call as an Audi, and below that we have const keyword. Let's call as user and John. Now we'll print these values to the console. So we got color, user, and car. Okay, so we got three different values. Now here we'll try to access this color variable with the window object. So we'll write window dot color. We got red as an output. Okay, so that means the color variable is attached to the window object. And if I try to do the same with the uh, variable that is defined with the const and let, we got undefined as a value. That is means that the variable is not attached to the window object. It is important because if you have third party libraries in your program, now this will, if you have the same variable as the third party, then it will create an confusion and it will may replace your values that is defined with the var keyword. Okay, so you have to reconsider the using var keyword in your JavaScript program. Now we'll talk about another difference between varlet and const is that when we create a variable with a var keyword, we allow to access that variable before the actual declaration. So we'll just console log and user variable. Now if I run this, we got a reference error because we did not define user variable in our program. Below that, we'll just declare our variable with a var keyword. Let's call it as user and we'll assign a value as an John. Okay, now if I run this, we got undefined as an output. So here what is happening, this is called as hosting in JavaScript. So hosting is a mechanism that allows to access the variable before it is actually defined. So JavaScript internally moves the declaration to the top of the window or before this declaration or before we use the variable. So this will look like this. Okay, now if I run the same program, we got again same output. Now you may be confused why we did not see the John as an output. The JavaScript only moves the declaration, it will not move the definition or the value that we assign. So if I after the definition, if I just log the value of this user variable, we got John as an output. Okay, and this hosting will not act on a let and const variable. So if I just redeclare this variable with a let, we got reference error, and with the same with the const keyword, we'll again got the reference error. And the last point or the last term is called as mutability. That means we allow to change the value of the variable after it defined. So the first we have var keyword, let's call it as a car, and we have Audi. And below that we'll change the var keyword value of this variable to something else. Let's call it as a Ferrari. Okay, and if I just console log car variable, we got latest value of the Ferrari. That means we can allow to change the value of car variable that is defined with the var. The same with the late keyword. If I do run this program, we can see the latest update of this value. And if I just declare this variable with a const keyword, we got an error assignment to constant variable. Now the const is an constant, that means we cannot assign a new value to this variable. Okay, we only allow to assign one value to this car variable. And this is important because you may have some values in your program that you want to keep as it is, like we have a pi value. Now this pi value is always be constant to 3.14 and you don't want to change it. Now this time we'll create this variable with a const keyword, so no one will change this value in your program. Okay, so now this is the difference between var, let and const. You may have any question, you can comment down below. Now we'll talk about some point where you can use var, let and const keyword in JavaScript. So if you're writing the modern JavaScript, you have to avoid the var keyword to creating variables, because we already see some problems with the var keyword that will allow hosting. Also it will attach to the window object, so you should avoid the var keyword. And if you already create some project with a var keyword, recreate or redesign the project with a let and const keyword. So now I'll talk about the let, where you can use let keyword. So if you want to change the value of the variable in your program, or you just want to change the values, then you can consider let as an keyword. Like we'll take an example for this. Like you have temperature, you want to show the temperature to the user like at the morning or afternoon, then we'll declare this variable with a let. Okay, then we'll assign the value as an 45 for the morning, and then we just console log morning temperature. Okay, and then we'll you have to change temperature for the afternoon. Then we can do that like 45. Now we have temperature as an 50, and below that we just log afternoon temperature. So now we got multiple output or multiple values with the same variable. And if you are using loop statement to iterate over variables, then you can choose late keyword to create variables. And now we'll talk about where you can use const keyword. Now the const keyword, now I'll say already that if you have values that you don't want to change in your program, then you can use const keyword. And I also suggest if you're using an array, an object in your program, then try to create this variable with a const keyword. Okay, like we have array, and here we'll create a simple array 2 3 4 5 6 8. And you may have any question, if the const keyword will not allow us to change the value, then how we can change the array elements? With the const keyword, we will not allow to change new value to our variable. If I try to assign new array to this array variable, now this will give an assignment error. But we can allow to change the elements of an array or object. So instead of this, we'll write array and we'll change the third element of the array to something another value. Let's call it a string. Now if I run this, we got third element as third element of the array as an apple. Okay, it also works same with an object. So here we'll create an object with a name John. Okay, and below that we'll just print our object, and we'll change the object property name to something alias. Now if I run this, we have new updated value, but we're not allowed to assign new object to this variable. Okay, this will give an assignment error. And if you're using HTML element in your JavaScript program, if you want to access the HTML element, like here we have button, then try to create these variables with a const keyword. Like here we have submit button, and then we'll write document dot query selector dot button. Okay, so this is all about var, let, and const. If you like this video, please thumbs up and subscribe the channel. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.